So, what's up everyone? In this video, the next capital city I'm about to draw is going to be Salt Lake City, Utah, which is a pretty long city name. We're slowly making our way back to smaller American capital cities, but for now, we're still sticking with the larger capital cities, and we're going to see where we're going to go from there. So, without any further ado, let's go ahead and get to work. Not only Salt Lake City is the capital of the state of Utah, but it's also the most populated city in the state of Utah. It's mostly shortened to Salt Lake, much like how New York City is shortened to New York. It can be confusing sometimes because you don't know if you're talking about the state of New York or the city of New York. Salt Lake City is also abbreviated as SLC, much like how New York City is abbreviated as NYC. Salt Lake City is one of the few major American cities located in the Great Basin. Back then, Salt Lake Valley was inhabited by a bunch of Native Americans, the Shoshone, Paiute, Goshute, and Ute. The valley was within the territory of northwestern Shoshone. The Goshute tribe, which is like one of the Native American tribes, had names for parts of the Salt Lake area. There was this guy named Jim Bridger, who is believed to be the first explorer of European descent in the Salt Lake area during the 1820s, but others been in the Utah area earlier than that guy. Some on the northern portion of Utah Valley. There was another guy named John C. Fremont who explored the Great Salt Lake and the Salt Lake Valley during the 1840s. And then a bunch of pioneers called the Donner Party traveled through the Salt Lake Valley in the mid-1840s. And I believe in the year 1847, people settled the area thanks to this guy. This guy is a religious leader named Brigham Young. He said, "It is enough. This is the right place. Drive on." And these people were actually members of the LDS, which stands for Latter-day Saints. And these people started building up the area, and that's how the city started growing. Maybe like nice and slowly or quickly. The city was just growing. The area was named Great Salt Lake City, which is named after the Salt Lake in the Utah area, in the state of Utah or Utah Territory. People had to bury Native Americans because they caught a deadly disease during the winter of 1847. Then there was this weird state called the state of Deseret. It didn't last that long. During the early 1850s hit, the Utah Territory became a thing. Fillmore was originally the territorial capital, but by the year since 1856, Salt Lake City replaced Fillmore as the territorial capital. The word great got dropped from the city's name because, honestly, the city name is pretty long, so it was the right choice to get rid of the word great and just leave Salt Lake City. So Salt Lake City used to be called Great Salt Lake City, which it's a lot to say. Eventually, ever since the Utah Territory became the state of Utah in 1896, the city of Salt Lake City remained the state capital. It remained the capital of Utah. It became the state capital in 1896. Salt Lake City is known for its skiing industry, as well as its mountain scenery and its outdoor recreation. The city is included to the Lincoln Highway, and it's also included to the first transcontinental railroad. The city is nicknamed the Crossroads of the West. The Globalization and World Cities Research Network consider this city a Gamma minus city. I'm going to mention these various landmarks of this city, so let's go ahead and begin. We got the Utah State Capitol, the Union Pacific Depot, City Council Building, Block U, University of Utah. This is the oldest institution for higher learning in the state of Utah. Rio Tinto Stadium. This stadium is not located in the city, but it's located in a city that's part of the Salt Lake area, Sandy, Utah, by the way. This stadium is home of the soccer team, Real Salt Lake. It's a pretty strange name for a soccer team, but whatever. The Salt Lake Temple. This is the largest Latter-day Saint temple by floor area. And the Vivint Arena, home of the basketball team, the Utah Jazz. Salt Lake City is the birthplace of these famous people such as actors Roseanne Barr, Brian Deckard, Loretta Young, R.I.P., Wilford Brimley, R.I.P., Jason Davis, R.I.P. as well, and religious leader Thomas S. Monson, R.I.P. as well. How many R.I.P.s was that? The drawing of Salt Lake City wasn't too bad for me to work on. It wasn't as painful as the previous capital city drawings that I had to do, Phoenix and Denver. Those were too painful, especially Phoenix. Phoenix was my most recent painful, like super duper painful capital city drawing that I had to push through and move past and everything. But the drawing of Salt Lake City that I did, it was a different story, sort of, somewhat. The mountains were by far the most painful thing that I had to do, including the trees, and everything about the drawing was painful but fun. The buildings weren't too bad for me to do. I felt mentally exhausted. I felt burned out after recording and getting through the drawing of Salt Lake City, so yeah. Yeah, this took longer than I expected. Okay everyone, here's the finished capital city drawing of Salt Lake City, Utah. Yes, this drawing took over 2 hours, maybe close to 3 hours. I had to draw some parts off camera because, you know, I hate recording for too long, and also I was worried that my camera's memory would get full. But again, here's the capital city drawing of Salt Lake City. You got the mountains in the background, of course. I get to draw the mountains again for a capital city in the US. Skyline, of course. Salt Lake City has a pretty small skyline. I drew some trees. Trees in the mountains were the most painful things that I had to do. Yep, another capital city down. I got some more work to do. We're almost done with these American capital cities. So that is going to be the end of this video. Stay tuned for more content, and I hope this video was quite enjoyable to watch. Also, happy Monday. Thank you very much for watching. I appreciate your time. Feel free to subscribe to this channel. Feel free to follow me on Twitter and Instagram. I love to connect with you people. And also, feel free to follow my Facebook page. So, I will catch each and every one of you guys later.